So I often get a lot of people who reach out and they ask me, what would be my top strategy to improve my productivity? What would be the best way to improve my daily productivity each day? And I sit there and tell people, the way you improve your productivity is not what most people will teach you. It's not what most people think it is. A lot of people think that improving your productivity is finding all these crazy hacks or finding all these crazy strategies to do so many different things in a single day. The reality is that it's the exact opposite. If you want to increase your productivity every single day, the true key is to find the one, maybe two or three things that will produce the most results. And from there, just do those 1 to 3 things every single day, consistently, for as long as possible until the goal is achieved. Does that make sense? A lot of times when I see people, they want to get more productive or they find that their life is a bit too chaotic. What they're trying to do is they're trying to sandwich so many different things into their day. They're trying to do ballet, they're trying to do soccer, they're trying to start a business, they're trying to read 50 books in a week, they're trying to do a podcast, they're trying to meet with so many different people, they're trying to party, they're trying to go on all these different dates. All of those things individually are totally okay. But the issue is that you cannot do all of those things consistently at the exact same time. You're going to have to sit there and pick out the key things that will drive the most results for you and your goal. You're going to have to pick out the things that will, first of all, you're going to have to pick out the things that will drive the most results to your goal. And you're going to have to do those things consistently for as long as possible. Now, I want to break things down a little bit because I know it's easy to sit there and say, okay, just do one thing consistently. But there's a few different caveats that you kind of have in order for this all to make sense and in order for you to make your productivity more effective. The very first thing, you need to have a goal. There's so many people I've met and so many different clients I've had that do not have a goal when they reach out to me. They do not have a goal when they're structuring their day. They don't know what they want to do. And to me, a goal is like a roadmap. It's almost like a treasure map in a sense, almost like a pirate's treasure map. A pirate has a treasure map, and on the treasure map, he marks X as the spot he needs to go to, or he sees X as the spot that he needs to go to in order to get the treasure. And a lot of times what people do is they just start wandering. They don't have a map. They're just wandering all over the place, trying to figure out where the X is. You need a treasure map to find the X. If you don't know where you're going, you'll be wandering for all of eternity. You'll be wandering forever. And that's not helpful. That's never going to help you get to the goal. Maybe some people will stumble upon their goal by accident, or they'll stumble upon something that they find appealing or something that maybe is similar to what their goal could have been or might have been. But it's not the actual goal itself. You need to know what the goal is. You need to have a map with an X designated on the map before you begin to do anything else. Does that make sense? So step number one in what you should do is always have a goal. Always have that treasure map. Always have that roadmap of exactly where you want to go before you begin to do anything else. That's my recommendation. The next thing, you need to figure out what activities will most likely get you to that result. And I know that's where the complication comes in, and that's what's difficult. And there's a few ways I kind of tackle this problem. If you haven't been doing anything at all toward your goal, and you're just trying to figure out what could be the best place to start, then what you need to do is you need to find other people that have achieved the goal that you desire or who have done something extremely similar. That's your starting point. And then from there, you're going to reverse engineer what they did and simply do that and figure out the thing that led to the most results. And it's going to be a little bit complicated. It's going to take a little bit of effort, and it's going to take a little bit of brainstorming to really sit there and analyze what are the specific things that they did that led them from point A to point B, and more specifically, what are the key things, the 1 to 3 things that they did that truly drove the most results. There's sort of this principle that I always bring up to my clients, and it's called the Pareto principle. And basically what the Pareto principle is, it's sort of the 80-20 law if you've ever seen that before. But basically what it is an economist sort of figured out that in basically everything, 20% of the activity leads to 80% of the results. And the reverse is also true. So 80% of the activity that you do will only lead to about 20% of the results. Now, don't be so super fixated on the numbers. It's not like a perfect 80-20 type thing. It could be like 79-21 or 60-40. But the point of this idea, there are a few things that you're doing that will lead to the most results, and you need to figure out what those key things are. So a good example, if you're watching, say for example, your goal is to become the next Mr. Olympia. You want to be a bodybuilder. I bring this up because I just watched this documentary on Arnold Schwarzenegger, which I highly recommend, by the way. And I also read his book, Total Recall. And one of the things he did to kind of set out on the path to become Mr. Olympia is he looked at his role model, Reg Park, and he did the exact same workouts he did, or he did them very similarly. He exercised as much as Reg Park would claim that he worked out. He did things the exact way Reg Park did, or at least the way he believed Reg Park did things to become Mr. Olympia. Arnold just copied what he did. And that's what you should be doing. If you want to be a Mr. Olympia, if you want to be a bodybuilder, just copy the exact same routine that someone who has achieved Mr. Olympia has done on the way up. That's the key thing, on the way up to get there. Copy exactly what they did. Now, that's just an example of something you can do if you don't know where to start and if you haven't started anything yet. Now, for some people though, you might have already designated your goal. You might have already begun to achieve something. You might have already started taking some action. If that's you, if you're in that boat, if you're in that camp, the thing you need to do is really sit there and analyze, what have you done so far that led to results? And out of all the things you've done that led to results, simply double down on the things that led to the most results. Does that make sense? So let's say, for example, you want to start a business, and maybe for a year now, you've been at starting a business, you've been putting out things, you've been trying to do different things, you're making content, you're writing emails, you're doing cold outreach, you're door knocking, whatever. You need to sit there and figure out of all the things you've been doing, what has actually led to some results, just some results. They might not be the exact results that you want, but what have you made progress in? What has led to some progress? And I'll give you an example of this. Back when I was more of a full-time real estate advisor, there's so many different ways you learn to get leads. You reach out to your friends and family, you do cold emails, you door knock, you do open houses, etc., etc. You cold call. There's lots of different ways to get leads. And this is kind of true in every single business. When I was sort of analyzing what was the best way for me to get leads, I found that one of the things that helped me the most was open houses. Because at open houses, you actively can meet more people. There are people who are interested in buying a house, and you can always follow up with them, etc., etc. Now, at the time, and I didn't do this at the time because I wasn't in the same mindset. I wish I had me as a coach for my younger self back then. But what I should have been doing is analyzing, okay, this week I did cold calls and I didn't really get many leads from that. This week I did an open house and I got a good amount of leads from that. This week I did emails. I didn't get any leads from that. Okay, so the open houses gave me 20 leads, and the second thing gave me 4 leads, and these other things gave me no leads. Well, let me just dedicate all my time to open houses. Everything I do is open houses or marketing open houses. And then from that point on, at least I'll make more progress than I have been making until something else changes. Now, maybe in the future, you might do open houses. And this is still using that real estate example. You might be doing open houses. You might be getting more money. And now you try Facebook ads. And you find that with an open house, you might get, let's make up a number, 10 leads every open house. But with Facebook ads, maybe you're putting your listing on a Facebook ad, you might get, say, 50 leads or 100 leads. Again, I'm making up numbers just to prove the point. You need to designate just one thing at a time, 1 to 3 things at a time, and just work on those things as much as possible, because those are the things that are going to drive the most results. Another quick example, years ago I used to work at a law firm, and when I first started there, one of the tasks that I was given was to kind of figure out a way to reduce the overall workload of the attorneys while also increasing the potential profits of the law firm. And so what I did is I found all the different closed cases from the past 5 years. I looked through all of them, and I noticed, and I applied the same Pareto principle. And what I noticed is that the majority of the money that was made in the firm, they came from referrals. So they came from people that knew the attorneys and had a friend or a family member, whoever, that was in a car accident, because it was a personal injury law firm, and referred that person to the law firm personally because they knew the attorneys and they mutually knew the victim of whatever accident. Does that make sense? Those were the people that were supplying the most money to the law firm. And then all the people that sort of called in or found ads or whatever, we made money from them too, but they weren't paying as much, and they were also more difficult to deal with, and it took longer to close their cases. So what we determined is that, again, based on this Pareto principle, most of our efforts should be focused into trying to get the attorneys to meet more people, because it seems like it's linear. The more people that the attorneys know, the higher the chance that those people that they have now met will refer people in accidents to the law firm. Does that make sense? Hopefully that all makes sense. So, like I said, to be the most as productive as possible, you need to kind of apply that same framework into your lifestyle. You need to figure out, one, you need to have a goal. Two, you need to figure out what are the top 1 to 3 things that matter the most toward you successfully accomplishing your goal. And then from that point, just double down on that thing. Double down that one thing or those 2 things, those 3 things over and over and over again until you start to see some significant progress in the goal. Then once you start to see some significant progress, sure, you can maybe try something new, experiment with something else, and then test again. See if that new thing produces more results than the original thing. If it does, shift to the new thing. If it doesn't, stick with the old thing. And you keep doing this until you accomplish your goal. Does that make sense at all? Now, if you're watching this, I am still taking on personal one-on-one coaching clients. If you need help with your productivity, if you need help setting goals or finding a structure that best helps you get from point A to point B in as little time as possible, there's a link below. You can click it. It'll take you to a Calendly link where you can do a one-on-one call with me. It's 1 hour. I try my absolute best to figure out the perfect strategy for you and the perfect schedule for you to achieve your goals as quickly as possible. Hopefully that all made sense. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, please click the like button and please share this with somebody that might benefit from this. Hope to see you in the next video. Peace out. Bye.